Good morning. With that, I will call our hearing to order. And then I will outline our procedures. First, I'll ask for the clerk to introduce the appeal into the minutes. Then we will have a presentation from the municipal representative, followed by the council's representative, then the applicant, appellant, then anyone in support of the appeal, and then anyone in opposition to the appeal. After each presentation, the board members will be given the opportunity to ask questions. And then finally, there'll be a time for the board members in particular to get points clarified. So, but also at that time, anyone involved in the hearing can ask questions through the chair of anyone else involved in the hearing. So with that, we go to Ms. Smith.
I'll interrupt there, please. I just want to introduce the board before we start. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board members for this morning's hearing are our chairman, Mr. Gar Beacom. And we have board members Matt Fox, Pat Steer, Marcia Reed, Ted Mills. Our council representative today is Councillor R.D. McHugh. And myself, Garrity Stanley, the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board Clerk. Does anyone have any objections to the board members today? In hearing none, I pass it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Now we'll go to Ms. Smith.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. One more.
Oh.
This appeal is against the approval of a condition for subdivision file 2104-13 on portions northwest, northeast, 13-2104 west of the 5th meridian. The appellant is Charles Anderson and his agent is Don Holstead, and the grounds for his appeal were submitted to and reviewed by the board prior to the hearing. Please note this appeal hearing is being live streamed and will be available for viewing on the county's website upon completion of the hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I will be speaking on behalf of the county with regards to the appeal against a condition of approval for the subdivision application proposing a boundary adjustment. Also with me today is Mr. R.D. McHugh, Councillor for Division 7, representing council as the subdivision approving authority. The subject parcel consists of 160-acre agricultural district parcel and one 39.74 acre agricultural district parcel located directly east of Parkins Road West and approximately 1.6 kilometers east of Highway 762 and 6.8 kilometers northwest of the hamlet of Millerville. The approximate location of the subject lands are shown on the map by the red star, with a close-up in the bottom left corner of the screen. The history of this application can be summarized as follows. On September 17th, 2025, third and final reading to Bylaw 33-2025 was granted authorizing the redesignation of a portion of Northwest 13-2104, west of the 5th, from agricultural to country residential district to allow for one 7.6 acre country residential lot with an approximate 32.14 acre agricultural balance, which was to be consolidated with the adjacent quarter to the east, being northeast 13-2104 west of 5, through a future boundary adjustment. Also on September 17th, the subdivision application for the boundary adjustment, whereby the 32.14 acres from the northwest, it was to be consolidated into the northeast quarter, creating a 192.14 acre agricultural district parcel and a 7.6 acre country residential district parcel. This was approved by council as a subdivision approving authority. An appeal by the landowner and their agent against one of the conditions of approval was received on October 22nd, 2025. This is a visual of the of council's decision for the application for subdivision for the boundary adjustment, whereby the 32.14 acres from the northwest was consolidated into northeast, creating the 192 acre agricultural district parcel in the kind of lime green and a 7.6 acre country residential parcel in yellow. An approach to the 7.6 acre country residential lot is located just south of the intersection of Parkins Road and 304th Street West, indicated by the orange arrow. The approach indicated by the blue arrow is to be utilized as primary access to the 192.14 acre agricultural district parcel. There's another access to the northeast quarter, currently existing via easement through the northwest over two parcels, being Plan 0010526 Lot 3 and Plan 9610401 Lot 1, as indicated by the red arrow. The county is not a party to this easement agreement, and the landowner wishes for this easement to remain in place as a secondary access. The applicant is appealing approval condition number 7, whereby the subdivision approving authority has outlined that the applicant is to execute and complete the registration of a request to discharge the easement agreement registered as encumbrance 931170455 on a portion of Northeast 132104 West 5. As legal and physical access to the Northeast parcel can be obtained from an existing approach and private driveway, the subdivision approving authority felt as though the existing access by easement was no longer required, and during deliberations expressed concerns regarding previous conflicts between the landowners who access over this easement. And that concludes the Foothills presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members have any questions? Mr. Steer?
Yes, good morning. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Smith. And through the chair, I have a few questions here. So I'm just going to refer to some of the pages in the package we received prior to the hearing. On September 17th, as you just stated, this matter came before council as a subdivision authority for a boundary adjustment type of application.
Correct.
So page 20 of our package is the subdivision approving authorities pages there that were presented to council. And I believe that that in fact is what was partially just reviewed by yourself at this hearing. And in that package, it shows throughout the presentation materials I got that the request of the subdivision approving authority on page 22 has the recommended conditions that were asked by the planning officer of council, and it did not include in any way, shape, or form any reference to the removal of this easement. Yet in the same package, we have a copy of the minutes from the hearing, I suppose it might be, with the final decision by council. And suddenly this removal of easement now appears.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, I believe obvious, but I'll state it for the record. Was there some process that was taken by council to discuss this easement and its removal, even though it affected an adjacent landowner? Or was it a motion of council that caused this new condition to be put into this decision? Do you recall, or do you have evidence of that, please?
Thank you. Through the chair. There was no recommended condition regarding that easement. It was stated in the staff report to council that the landowner wished for that private easement to remain. Discussions occurred during the subdivision application review between council members, where the area councillor brought forward that there were existing concerns that were brought forward between the landowners that access via that easement, which led to the discussion and deliberation and a motion by that councillor to add this removal of the easement as a condition.
Follow-up, Mr. Chair. I mean, yeah. Given what you've just said, was there evidence provided by that counselor with concerns, and what were they? Do you know?
There was nothing other than verbal conversation. So no.
So therefore, I gather then that based upon the counselor's information that the counselor had received from someone, a decision was made by that counselor, and then was there a motion made to alter the conditions, or how was that condition added on?
Yes, the motion was made to add that condition into the decision.
Okay, thank you very much.
Further questions? Just, I have one question, and then the easement we're talking about, just to confirm, is the one to the south?
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Mills?
If I might, in that easement, the line along, what we did, the first lot off of Parkins Road, is that an MD or a county right of way that it's placed on partially down there, or how is that set up?
I will share my screen again, just one moment. Oh, sorry, there we go. So the easement starts from the municipal roadway, being Parkins Road, and
Yep.
goes over a 15-meter panhandle here that allows for, this is lot 1 here, and then it goes through this one. So it is not not a right of way through the county, but a private driveway.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Being none, we now go to Council Rep, Mr. McHugh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the chair. So in speaking to the history of these easements, they historically result in conflict quite often. So I'm not sure what you want me to add to this conversation. Of course, council receives recommendations from administrations on motions, but council is responsible for the motions. Administration can recommend whatever they want. Council makes the motions. With the boundary adjustment put in place, legal access to the enlarged quarter was presented and would only be rationale that if there was an opportunity to remove potential conflict in the future with an easement across 2 private properties, the rationale makes sense. Historically, these things can end up with blockades when landowners change, discussions over care and maintenance of private driveways. Landowners change and they don't want other people driving through their properties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not a party, the municipality is not a party of this private easement, so I don't know what the details of it are. And with the boundary adjustment included, the parcel now has legal access And it makes more sense to have reduced the number of approaches. The road allowance on the east side is undevelopable. And with the parcel number 1 being included into parcel number 2, legal access is obtainable without going through other people's property. And that's all I have to add to the conversation at this point. Thanks.
Thank you. Board members have questions? Mr. McHugh? Mr. Mills?
Mr. McHugh, since this is a secondary access to this property, the primary one being the one to the north, I don't quite understand why it needs to be removed. And the fact that this is a very treed, forested area, it might be of a safety fire hazard to have access from this property in case of fire, and since it's a private access and secondary, I don't understand why it's necessary, on the opinion of council, to remove it. Go ahead.
I can only reiterate that when there's potential conflict between landowners, potentially in the future, that easement becomes problematic. In the event of an emergency, I'm sure it's still there and they could use it. But generally, we don't want to have parcels with more than one entrance and exit. And they've been awarded a boundary adjustment to enlarge a quarter that incorporates another major access that would be their own private access. So all smaller lots in the municipality only have one entrance onto a main road.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Steer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question. It may be the case where the counselor that's in attendance today on behalf of council may not have the answer. Could I then revert my question over to the development officer in the same question, Mr. Chair? Thank you. So I'm not sure if you know this, Mr. McHugh, or not. Was the other landowner that would be affected by this removal of this easement, was he in attendance that day, do you know, and made any comments in regard to this matter?
Not that I recall. I would also point out that the municipality is not a part of this private easement, which is also problematic. Thanks.
Could I then, Mr. Chair, to Ms. Smith, can you respond to that same question? Was the other landowner that would be affected by this new condition 7, were they in attendance or were they consulted?
Through the chair, notification of the applications were sent to the adjacent landowners. However, I can't confirm if they were in attendance to that, as it is not a public hearing for the subdivision where that condition was utilized. So they could have been watching, but we don't have any way of tracking that, of who watched those hearing deliberations. But to my knowledge, there were no submissions or letters written in either support or opposed to the original staff report at land use that outlined that the landowners wish to have that access to remain.
Just a clarification, Mr. Chair, if I could. Ms. Smith, thank you for the response. I appreciate what you're saying. I'm trying to find out, though, if and when the original notification went out to adjacent landowners, if the affected party we were just discussing, the adjacent landowner, would have therefore known about a possibility of their easement being affected. Because if they only received that first notification, it wouldn't have been in their package that they received, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Anything third? Mr. McHugh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to reiterate that the municipality is not a part of this private easement. And it is not, everything is always, when we have landowners and everybody is comfortable, it all seems wonderful. But when landowners change and titles change, conditions change. And without the municipality being a part of this private easement, there's no way for the municipality to be involved in a dispute over a private easement if titles change and conditions change. Lots of times things are harmonious when people take these actions, landowners change, and then the conditions change. This is historically what is shown when we have problems with these private easements. It has been the general direction to go away from private easements wherever possible in council in the recent past. And if they must exist in order to be involved in case there is a conflict, then it would be important for the municipality to be a part of that private easement as well. Thanks.
Thank you. We can come back to clarifying that later. We have the agent for the applicant appellant, Mr. Halstead. He's remote. Do you have a contribution for us, Mr. Halstead?
Good morning, everyone, board members. Yes, I would certainly like to represent my client and say my piece. Yeah, I'll just note what we put into the appeal application here. I understand the county's policy moving forward that they don't want these properties to be accessed by way of easement, but it's an existing easement. It's been in place since '93, I believe, and that the landowners use this, maintained it, and dealt with it for over 30 years. So even if we discharge that on the 192 acre property, the quarter plus the strip there, it's still going to be used by that other lot, that lot 1981. That's still, they're still going to access their property via that driveway. I don't really see the issue on keeping this as a secondary access point for my client for the 192 acre parcel. Removal of the access agreement to the 192 acre parcel would not reduce the number of the approaches onto Parkins Road. I mean, there's no traffic implications on, both these approaches exist. Both these access points to the 192 acre parcel. So I don't really see a traffic pattern issue. And when this was referred out to engineering, they had no concerns with access points. Yeah, with all due respect, if someone purchases a piece of property with an access easement on it, well then, it's an existing condition. If they didn't want a property where someone was accessing through their property by way of an access easement, then they shouldn't have bought a property with an access easement registered on title. That's about all I have to say to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members have questions? Being none, that was alluded to, I think it was Mr. McHugh, that including the county into the easement agreement, is that possible? Ms. Smith?
I might have to get back to you on that as I'm not entirely sure, maybe. Yeah, I think in any hearing deliberation, or sorry, the council's deliberation, they could have made that as a condition, to be a party to it. However, in this circumstance, I don't believe that they would have, as there is legal physical access to that parcel to this, to the north, which aligns with our land use bylaw. But yeah.
Mr. Halstead, are you still there? Can you address my question?
Yes, I believe they could make it a condition to discharge the current agreement, and we could put a new agreement in place where the council's party to the new access agreement. That could be done.
Thank you. I have no one else on my list to speak to us, but I'm going to go back to the board if they have any points they need clarified at this time. Mr. Steer?
Yes, I'd like to speak, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Halstead, if I could, if you're still there, Mr. Halstead. Have you been in touch with the other party that uses this access road by easement? And if so, they had any comment with respect to this situation? Because I suspect if you were to have done or would have tried to comply with this new condition 7, you would have had to made contact with them or their lawyer to see if they were in agreement to have this easement nullified. Is that correct, how that would go?
Hello. Yeah, I have not been in contact with the other party, with the property owner along Parkins. Yeah, I mean, we can just, it would be possible to discharge this off of title without dealing with that owner, but you know, again, that's not the wish of my client. So no, we have not I have not been in contact with the Parkins Road,
Okay.
the owner along Parkins Road.
Thanks for your response.
Mr. Mills?
Thank you. My questions to Mr. Halstead as well. Sir, that primary access, is it developed in any way, or is it just suggested as to where it will run?
Yes, there is a current approach in a gravel driveway that kind of winds its way up the road to, you can see it in Brittany's report there. It's page 21, I believe, of the agenda. So that is in place. There's a blue arrow kind of noting its location. I don't know if you can see. I'm not very good with sharing screens.
Yeah, it's okay. I can see.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is in existence, that approach and driveway up to the quarter in the back.
Thank you.
Further questions? Points of clarification? Mr. McHugh, do you have any additional?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just point out that it is not council's intention to be a part of third-party private easements. That is only an absolute case, and that is generally when conflict arises that the municipality would want to or ever be a part of a private easement. There are topographical situations such as rivers where titles become landlocked and are stranded that an easement must exist. In the past, we had all the well sites, and it was kind of commonplace that people would use these right of ways and get easements on them. And they, speaking historically, have been conflictual moving forwards. The same rationale that is used for the boundary adjustment with the access going through the adjacent portion is was a big part of the decision to allow for the boundary adjustment in the first place. The access point reduces the traffic to 2 smaller holdings, which makes less traffic coming in on private titles. And that's all I would add. Thanks.
Thank you. Any points of clarification, board members? I guess at this point we go to closing comments. Does the Ms. Smith have any closing comments?
Thank you. Just closing, just to reiterate that based on the history of easements and the conflicts that do arise, not necessarily with these individuals, but in general, and the fact that the easement was not approved by the county, and the county is not a party to it. And during the decision, that county has the ability to require an access management strategy for a property when making decisions, and which included the elimination of this easement by access. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Halstead, do you have any closing comments? They're not necessary, but it's your opportunity.
Yeah, sure. I'd just like to reiterate that we're talking about 2 existing approaches. They're both going to be continue to be used. So like there's really not much change to the traffic pattern, no matter how you rule here. I still really don't see the issue here of letting the access easement remain as a secondary access point to the quarter. Thank you.
Board members, any points of clarification? Being none, I will close the hearing. The board will make its decision today. The decision will come out in writing in about 15 days. Thank you very much for your contributions. Thank you. Good morning. I will call us to order, and I'm going to ask the clerk to introduce the board members, and then I will outline our procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board members for this afternoon are yourself, Mr. Gar Beacom, board members Matt Fox, Pat Steer, Marcia Reed, and R.D. McHugh, along with myself, the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board Clerk, Garrity Stanley. Does anybody have any objections to the board members today? Good. In hearing none, I pass it back to you, Mr. Chair.
With that, I will outline our procedures. First, I'll ask the clerk to introduce the appeal into the minutes. Then we'll have a presentation from the municipal representative. Then we will hear from the applicants, appellants, and then those in support of the appeal and anyone in opposition to the appeal. After each presentation, the board members will be given the opportunity to ask questions. And then finally, there'll be a time for anyone involved in the hearing to ask questions of anyone else in the hearing. But it's a time particularly for board members to get points clarified. I encourage you to make sure that we know everything we need to know, that even if we're privy to information that's been presented elsewhere in the county, unless it's reintroduced here, we cannot use it in making our decisions. So it doesn't matter whether it's oral or written, just make sure that we know everything we need to know. With that, I would turn it over to Ms. Bartnick.
I'll step in there,
Oh,
Mr.
sorry,
Chair.
I did it again.
I'll introduce the appeal. So this appeal is against the refusal of development permit 25D 171 for lot grading on portions southwest, northeast 352001 west of the 5th meridian. The appellant is Wendy Temple Thompson, and the grounds for her appeal were submitted to and reviewed by the board prior to the hearing. Please note, this appeal hearing is being live streamed and will be available for viewing on the county's website upon completion of the hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Bartnick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And good morning, everyone. So this morning's appeal is with respect to a development officer decision refusing an application for development permit for lot grading. And this was with respect to the import of additional soils to the subject to properties. These properties, highlighted with the yellow stars, are one 129.31 acre parcel and one 149.56, both agricultural district parcels located adjacent to the north and east side of Highway 549 on the curve at 354th Avenue and to the northeast on the south side of an undeveloped portion of 338th Avenue West. The landscape of these lands is influenced by low-lying areas, a recurring stream or ephemeral drainage areas that run north-south through the quarter sections, as well as the sandstone Wilson Coulee that runs along the east side. By definition, lot grading includes operations or activity that results in a disturbance of the earth, including the removal of topsoil or borrow pits, berming, excavate, trenching, backfilling, filling, land leveling, recontouring, and grading other than for building purposes. Section 91710 of the Land Use Bylaw directs that a development permit is required for relocating topsoil from one property to another in the county or from lands outside of the county except where in accordance with an executed development agreement or exempted under Section 421 of the Land Use Bylaw. Lot grading is a discretionary use under the agricultural district. References to the related sections of the Land Use Bylaw are included in the board's agenda package beginning on page 111. This application for development permit proposes the import of soil onto the two properties, and this is additional to the works that were authorized under Development Appeal Board Order D-19-2024 from October of 2024. The plan submitted with the application for development permit identifies 3 areas in which additional soils are to be deposited. They include Area 1, shown here outlined in red, Area 2 in yellow, and Area 3 in blue. Revised plans were additionally submitted to the board and begin on page 126 of your agenda. A maximum of 180 loads per day are to bring a cumulative total of plus minus 65,000 cubic meters of soils to the lands. Access to the northeast quarter section will be required to cross an adjacent independently titled parcel. An arrangement with that adjacent landowner is to allow for the movement of vehicles between these lands, as well as the exit of empty trucks via 338th Avenue. Responses to referral of this application to internal departments and external agencies for comment are shown beginning on page 77 of today's agenda. The board may choose to confirm, revoke, or vary the development authority's decision on this application for development permit, or make or substitute an order of your own. Please feel free to let me know of any questions that you may have.
Board members have questions? Being none, we now hear from Mr. Bradley.
Oh, this one. Okay.
And you have to get close to the microphone.
Yeah. I've got one of those voices. You guys be telling me to back off here pretty quick. Hi, my name is Trent Bradley. I work for a company called Kidco Construction. I'm here acting as an agent for Wendy, the landowner. Our application is to continue on improving the soil on this property for ag purposes. We submitted our package with some detailed contours of what we plan on doing. Keep in mind, we're bringing topsoil to the property, organic topsoil, not clays. There was some concerns addressed in our application regarding the setback of the slope on the north portion. I believe that's area 3. And as well, there was some concerns of the drainage course, the ephemeral drainage course on the west property, both in areas 1 and adjacent to areas 2. We've since modified our plan, which you can see on page 124 of your package, to address those concerns, where we initiated a 5-meter setback from the slope and 5 meters back from the water course, just so we can maintain those two without problems. Yeah, that's about it. The soil that's coming to this property, I have a few options yet, so it's still undetermined. But it will be good topsoil that's been previously stripped from land development projects. Agriculture land that's turned into residential. So.
Board members have questions, Mr. Bradley? Mr. McHugh?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. It's the chair to the applicant. So do we have any soil sampling done on any of these lands for comparison so that we actually know that it's an improvement?
In the last one, we that was a condition of approval or condition of condition of approval, and we'll provide those samples for sure.
Further questions? Mr. Steer?
Yes, thank you and good morning. Thank you for your brief presentation. There's a lot of material here, both on the truck and on the land and in this package. So I need to go back to page 61 in this package where it shows the decision of the development officer, Ms. Bartnick, and the reasons I gather for her concerns. And Ms. Bartnick, if I'm incorrect in that statement, please help me. That's what you're seeking there on page 61, refusal description. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Right, okay. So then, sir, I'm just wondering, how do you intend on addressing these concerns today that have been raised? I didn't hear anything regarding that in detail.
So
Are you, I guess, I'm sorry to interrupt, I should have said, is it the case that you're looking for relief and you don't want to do these studies, or what is it that's going on here?
no,
We actually just, I wasn't thinking and omitted the 15-foot or 15-meter setbacks.
no, I addressed
agreement.
these. I thought I did address these items with providing a setback. There was no allocation on the initial package, and these setbacks are meant as an amendment to satisfy these conditions.
We did it on the original, when we first dumped too, we set back from a water course,
Yeah.
same distance. So it was not thinking because it's automatic to do that anyways, and so we just weren't thinking at that moment to add it.
So is it your contention that you've already addressed these matters that she's bringing forward in this hearing?
Correct. Yes.
How? By what you'd already submitted beforehand?
No.
No,
This is
this was submitted after receiving the rejection letter. We
Okay,
submitted these documents like 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
okay. So if I may readdress to the planning officer, Mr. Chair, are you acknowledging that you have been satisfied now, Ms. Bartnick, on the matters that you've raised in this matter?
I would suggest that I'm looking to the board to be satisfied for this. I am not a soils conservation officer. My question is, what is an appropriate setback given adjacency to specific lands? From what I see, and they can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, they are offering a 5-meter setback. Given slope and what they're proposing to do, that's where I struggle as to, is it appropriate? The second thing, and as Member McHugh had alluded to, at what point in time is it appropriate to get the soil samples tested and submitted to the county? We definitely did get a batch upon my request towards the end of the previous activity. But I'm wondering if it's not more appropriate to receive them prior to being transported to the property. And so that's where I'm looking to the board for direction.
One more to the applicant then, or the appellant in this case. Have you provided the information she's just described already? And do you have evidence to support that in the hearing today?
So yes, I've provided a new plan showing the setbacks to address those issues. And the soil samples I have not provided, but I'm prepared to provide them prior to commencing any work is as a condition of approval.
I certainly don't want junk.
No,
compost.
no, that's not the intent.
Yeah, so.
Okay, that's,
And it's hard because as they're scraping where they're at, or as they're taking the topsoil off, because they can't leave it there if the developer wants it gone, they're building houses now, they're kind of stuck, they gotta get rid of it. So some of it may go, like I've lost some really good soil already, went elsewhere, I guess. But as new stuff arises or new development arises, then it'll become available for me. I'm very particular on what I want dumped on there because I want crops.
Yeah.
okay. That's all at this time. There's probably going to be more. Thank you.
Mr. Bradley, just going back to our package here. It looks like it's pages 126, 27, and so on. Is that the ones that you're referring to?
Yes, yeah, those pages were provided as a to address the problems that were brought up by Brenda.
Just to confirm that.
Yeah, yeah.
Board members have any further questions? Mr. McHugh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through the chair to the appellant. So another concern, as well as soil samples, would be fusarium. So largely Foothills is fusarium free. So would there be any problem for testing these soils for fusarium as well, so that we're not hauling in fusarium?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you for that. Through the chair to the appellant. So it looks like parcel 1, I can see that those are cultivated agricultural lands, but it's looking to me like parcel 2 and 3 are traditionally pasture. So I guess just a little insight into it, like we're looking at the slopes of Wilson Coulee, and looks like we're going to be repurposing from traditional pasture lands and environmentally sensitive lands to cultivated lands, I guess. And
no, at the top there, no, it would be into pasture. Part of the problem. I think
Can you share the mic there,
Oh,
please?
Sorry, I think part of that parcel there, the reason why we're doing this is we tried breaking the parcel 1 and 2.
Yeah, this is 1 and 2.
Oh,
Or,
sorry.
1 and 3.
Yeah, well, we tried breaking up on the speed corner there and putting in crops, but it was just, it was terminal moraine. It's just rock. So we ended up, that's why we want, and even having pasture land that's so quick to dry out. So that's why when we had this opportunity to put topsoil on, it's, oh, well, that's great. It can, as you were currently right now, they planted a crop this year and it was great. It was, some areas need to be rock picked a bit, but that's to be the norm. And on the other piece of land, you call Sandstone Wilson Coulee or Valley, I don't, we want to put that into pasture, but it's part of that sort of terminal moraine. In fact, it was so much gravel in there, you used it for a burrow pit on that property to build the highway. And we just said, yes, help yourself, because it's a benefit to everyone to have a highway or build up the road properly. But that's what they used to construct the road there. So a lot of that was taken down the land there for a burrow pits on the east or on the west side and the south side of that speed corner area. So as you can probably tell by the highways, tremendous amount of a big burrow pit that, or a lot of material got taken off our land to build the highway. That's because it was such good, stable, clay, rocky, perfect for building roads with. So not so great for building or putting crops in. So that's what we're after. If that sort of explains
Mr. McHugh?
that better.
Okay, thanks. So that's, sorry, I thought it was numbered 1, 2, 3
So
from the south to the north. So you were just speaking to the one that's next to the highway 552. That's
Well,
area 2.
all of that area was we only had 145 acre section that was okay for a crop. The rest of it was, because we tried breaking it up. But the piece on the Sandstone Wilson Coulee, that strip there, will be just pasture land. So we want to put grass in, clean it up, and put pasture land in there, back in there.
And just to add to your concerns of bringing material in from outside the MD, just so you know, full disclosure, the piles that I'm looking at are coming from the Darcy previous golf course lands there, that area that's been developed, and across the road, which is Wedderburn. So those are the areas that I'm gonna try and get rights to that dirt, and that's where I'm gonna bring it in from. Just if that.
If the timing works.
Yeah, if the timing works, yeah. So.
Okay, so sorry, area 3 is currently pasture.
Currently pasture.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's-
and I'm sure it's in here, but when we're talking about lot grading, so this is something over 1 meter that you're looking at adding to these lands?
Last,
No,
whatever, we're just trying to make it more amenable for, because right now it's sort of, it doesn't grow things very well for the same reasons. Just as you see the land adjacent to the west of it, only part of it is put into cropland because the rest of it is the same sort of situation. But they aren't farming it, they're acreage people, Chisholm's.
So sorry, which chunk are you referring to?
Oh, on
Area
the
3.
Area 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the property right next door to the west of it is not broken up, or has never been broken up for the same reasons. It sort of continues that terminal moraine through there. And so we just want to make it so that we want to put our cattle back in on there and have it some better grass, better quality, longer lasting pasture.
Okay, thanks.
Further questions, board members? Have you finished with your presentations at this time? Both of you?
Yeah.
I think we're just willing to accommodate,
Well,
but and make,
we have one more person that's remote, Mr. Marchand. And now is your opportunity to present, or are you just here as an observer?
Yes, good morning. It's Ken Marchand. Can you hear me, Mr. Chair?
Yes. Are you have a presentation, or you here to observe
Well,
the hearing?
No, I do have a couple of comments. So
Go ahead.
I own the balance of the quarter to the north of Wendy, beside 338. So our quarter runs along 338 on the south side. So my question is, like what Wendy's trying to do, I don't necessarily disagree with. I haven't had opportunity to talk to Wendy directly on this, being a neighbor, but my concern is the regress out on 338, which is a county road, gravel. And just in terms of how that road's going to hold up to possibly 180 trucks a day with trailers. And the dust mitigation, because I have A-land, I call it specialty crop alfalfa for horses I sell. And then we're looking to build as well there along 338. So I was going to pay for dust control, but I'm not really sure about the timing. I know Wendy isn't either, but my concern is how is that road going to be maintained? How's the dust control going to be maintained? Obviously, if they oil it, it's not going to hold up. I'm presuming they're going to water it, which I'm not sure what impact that's going to have on the road base. So that's kind of my, I guess, concern on the regress of the trucks. Don't really have a concern what Wendy's trying to do. Maybe she can bring some over for me as well. But it's more the regress along 338 Avenue that I border the whole stretch there pretty much. And bar none's to the north of me, and they have the same crop, alfalfa crop. And then if this does go through and the trucks roll along there, you know, is there any commitment to actually seal that road after for us for the inconvenience or the amount of traffic being on that road? And maybe the county has some comments on that as well.
I can address some of those issues.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, and I understand his point of view, absolutely. We chose to egress out on that road just to try and actually create less impact to the surrounding area. And our trailers will be empty going out that road. So that's why I don't think there'll be any damage created to the road. The dust will be a concern, absolutely. But I'm prepared to bring a water truck out and spray it. And or I've done this before, obviously, and we've had really good success with putting down a dust suppressant. The MD uses it as well. It's kind of, forgive me, I forget the technical name. It's like a calcium chloride or something like that. But the MD does it as well. We've done that in problem areas before, and you know, we don't want to cause anybody any issues. Like that's not our intent here. So my point is dust control is a concern that we take seriously. I'll bring a water truck out if it gets out of hand. I'm welcome to meet with the adjacent landowners and review on an ongoing basis. So.
Yeah,
Mr. Marsh.
I have a lot of experience with gravel trucks, having driven one for many years. So I just know the washboarding, because that road already gets washboarded just with the local traffic, which isn't a lot. And that's kind of why we decided to build over there. So that's really just my main concern is it's not getting totally dusted out, because of course we're on the north side of 338, which tends to get where the wind tends to blow the most. So that's really my only comments, and that the road is left in better shape with some dust control at the end of all this.
Thank you. The board members have any questions? Well, Mr. Marchand. I think that's the last of our participants today. So I would now go to closing comments, if any. Ms. Bartnick, any closing comments?
I have nothing additional. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do the applicant's agent have any closing comments?
No, I think we're fine.
Thank you. Mr. Marchand, do you have any closing comments?
No, I think that pretty much covers my concerns on the 338 aspect.
Thank you. Board members, any points of clarification? Nothing new? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the development officer, if I may, at this time. I'm not exactly clear in terms of clarification if all of the information that you had based your refusal on have been obtained. And if they have, I don't see them in this package very easily because it's a big package. So can you verify that you've got all that you were seeking now, please, Ms. Barney?
I would suggest that there has been information submitted that the applicant and landowner feel considers the concerns that were expressed. The board may take a look at what's been submitted because this is all that's been submitted thus far. And they could add conditions or provide additional direction with respect to the recommended conditions that have been provided to you, should you determine to overturn the refusal.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, board? Mr. McHugh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to the development officer, just a point of clarifications. In regards to 5.5.1 C should not cause traffic impacts on page 61. I do see some comments from Public Works here in regards to a road use agreement being required, but in consideration of 180 truckloads a day, understanding that the 552 is provincial highway, would it be in this board's purview to request a traffic management plan? And
I would suggest that as far as the county goes, the only thing we have control over for the county is county road surfaces. There was response that was provided by Alberta Transportation, and I believe that they are looking for an updated roadside development permit, and that would be under their purview as to if they thought their highways were in any way affected.
okay, so it would be in our purview to have a traffic plan for 338.
For 338.
And so through the chair to the appellant, like this makes a big difference if we're doing 6 inches of topsoil onto onto native pasture, or if we're doing 3 meters onto pasture. Like that's a whole different story. Like we're dealing with those, we're dealing with the slopes there. If it's 6 inches, that's, like spraying manure. If we're doing 3 meters, then that might raise the question of, do we need soil and erosion berm controls along there? So it's not really outlined in here how much material we're speaking to. On the cultivated lands, not so much of an issue as long as you stay out of the riparian areas. But I just not a lot of clarity on what's happening on the pasture lands and what the real intent here is as far as material being like the volume is fine, but that doesn't make it a
Where?
clear picture when we say 65,000 meters cubed. So I would like a little bit more information on that. And then just on our page, page 60, it does show the other side of the quarter. But to the east of the train tracks, but that is not in question. That's not an area.
No.
That's too bad. That would be close to Darcy, wouldn't it, coming that way? Anyway.
I would love some on top there too, but
That's
So just looking for a little clarity on what on kind of a height or 6 inches or a
Fair
foot or 2 feet. And the other question in there would be understanding, maybe just a little clarity on how the understanding that it is the 552 is provincial, but maybe just a little clarity for where that access or approach is coming in. I guess mostly for my benefit, just to understand how the trucks are going to access. I do understand how they're going to egress.
Sure. To your point, we're talking about area 3, which is the upper shelf of the coulee. We plan to put on like between 16 inches to 2 feet of material throughout that area. So not a big amount of fill. We don't plan on changing any contours. We'll obviously feather it off to the adjacent properties. And with that setback, we'll use that setback as a to feather off that grade change as well, along the top of the escarpment there. And then to address your access points, we make an application with Alberta Transportation. We provided signage at the entrance point. It's an existing approach that's been in use for years on the south east corner of the quarter to the south. We plan on coming in that entrance loaded, so the weight will be on the highway on the AT road, travel up the parcel immediately to the south, and then come out through the parcels, and it is lined out in this package. There is a drawing in here with some arrows, and to come out, exit on 338 empty. Again, dust is an issue for us. We don't like it either, and we'll put a water truck up there if we need to, and or I'll oil the road and fix it up. So
we've brought dirt in there before, and very successfully, no issues. It's pretty clear line of sight. You got a quarter mile from the edge of the quarter, or half a mile from the edge of the quarter to because it's right against the fence line on the east side of the property. So it's we really didn't have a problem previously bringing in fill. So I don't imagine we'd have again if we were able to do, but if there's more required, we certainly will do what's asked of us.
yeah.
Thank you. Board members, any other points? Mr. McHugh?
Sure. Thank you through the chair to the appellant. Just on a traffic plan for 338, what can you give us a brief description of what the business hours might be? Just like for the hall, or are we talking 24/7 here?
No,
or
no,
are we talking
no. So
Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, or what?
yeah, so
what's kind of
typically,
the
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Typically, we'll work 7:30 to 5:30, but the trucks probably wouldn't show up until 8, somewhere in there, because depending on the haul distance. But in general terms, we adhere to all the noise bylaws. So, and we do work Saturdays if weather permits. We don't work Sundays. that's it. And as far as a traffic accommodation plan, we can prepare something for you guys for your comfort. Showing additional signage and stuff like that. So we, notify the public of what we're doing.
Thank you. So with that, I will close the hearing. The board will make its decision today. The decision will come out in writing in about 15 days. Thank you for your presentation. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Good morning. I'm going to call our hearing to order. And first I will ask the clerk to introduce the board members to you, and then I will outline the procedures for the hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board members this afternoon are our chairman, Mr. Gar Beacom. We have board members Matt Fox, Pat Steer, Marcia Reed, and R.D. McHugh. Myself, Garrity Stanley, the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board Clerk. Does anyone have any objections to the board today? In hearing none, I turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We will get presentations from the municipal rep, the applicant, appellants, supporters of these people. And after each presentation, the board members will be given the opportunity to ask questions. And then finally, there will be a time that board members in particular, but anyone involved in the hearing can ask anyone else through the chair questions regarding the hearing. Pardon me. It doesn't matter whether the presentations are oral or written, just as long as we have everything that we need to know to make our decision. Even if we're privy to information that's been presented elsewhere in the county, unless it's reintroduced here in the hearing, we cannot use it in making our decisions. So I emphasize that you make sure that we have all the data that we need to make our decision. With that, I would ask the clerk to introduce the appeal into the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This appeal is against the refusal of Development Permit 25D228 for an intensive livestock operation and relaxation of setbacks for existing structures on portion northeast 292202 west of the 5th Meridian. The appellant is Jason Taylor, and the grounds for his appeal were submitted to and reviewed by the board prior to the hearing. Please note, this appeal hearing is being live streamed and will be available for viewing on the county's website upon completion of the hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The appeal before the board today was submitted by the landowner against the discretionary refusal issued by the development officer for development permit 25D228. 228. The development permit requested a relaxation of setbacks to 3 existing horse shelters and to allow for an intensive livestock operation, being 10 horses, to remain on the 10-acre parcel. The subject property is a 10.01 acre country residential district parcel located south of 162nd Avenue West and directly west of 160th Street West. It is approximately 1.4 kilometers north of Highway 22X. The application requests a relaxation of setbacks for 3 existing horse shelters that are located on the north side of the property, adjacent to 162nd Avenue West, which is an internal subdivision road with a required setback of 15 meters. Structure number 1, identified in green, is 7.5 meters from the north property line and 8 meters to the west property line. Therefore, a relaxation of 7.5 meters or 50% is requested to the north, and 7 meters or 46.6% relaxation requested to the west property line. Structure number 2, identified in red, is 5 meters from the north property line and therefore requires a 10 meter or 66.6% relaxation. And structure number 3, identified in yellow, is located 7 meters from the north property line, requiring an 8 meter or 53.3% relaxation. Further, the application requests an intensive livestock operation to allow for the keeping of no more than 10 horses personally owned by the landowner on the subject property. Section 13.1.7.3 of our land use bylaw outlines setback requirements of 15 meters from the right-of-way of an internal subdivision road. Section 5.6.2 limits the variance power with regard to setbacks to a maximum of 90% for the existing structures. The requested variance for these shelters is within the 90% variance in which the Development Authority can consider. The application identifies that manure for the intensive livestock operation is managed on the property by harrowing into the pastures on the subject parcel, with no short-term storage containment areas identified. Pasture management is outlined as utilizing 5 paddocks, whereby horses are split between paddocks 1 and 2, then rotate through paddocks 3 and 4, and finally within paddock number 5 before rotating back to 1 and 2. Supplemental feeding of hay is identified to occur when needed. As per section 10.1 of the land use bylaw, a maximum of 3 animal units are permitted on parcels between 3 and 9 acres, and or the keeping of more than 1 animal unit per 3 acres in excess of 9 acres will require a development permit. Therefore, as the total number of animals exceeds what is permitted, a development permit for an intensive livestock operation was submitted. The parcel is permitted to have a total of 3 horses. The application identified 10 horses, in which landowner has requested to have remain. To have a total of 10 horses, the parcel would have to be a minimum of 30 acres in size. As per land use bylaw section 10.1, regarding applications for agricultural intensive uses, all parcels on which livestock are kept shall adhere to the following. Pasture management shall be maintained to ensure no overgrazing. Manure management shall occur to ensure no contamination of runoff onto adjacent lands, riparian areas, or watercourse. And manure management shall be undertaken to reduce odor. In the opinion of the Development Authority and the County's Agricultural Services Board, the application submitted did not provide sufficient evidence that pasture and manure management are sufficient to support 10 horses on the 10-acre parcel. There is an ephemeral drainage that runs through the south portion of the property, and in a high precipitation event during spring melt, there is a high probability of nutrient and contaminant runoff from the property that has potential to contaminate wetlands and a well downstream from the property. Although the pictures provided with the application show good grass growth, this year has seen higher than normal precipitation and vegetation growth compared to normal. Supplemental feeding for majority of the year in normal precipitation and growth years would be required to sustain the number of horses requested. No manure removal from the property or short-term storage is proposed, which would suggest that a high nutrient loading of the soil would occur over time. Section 10.1.9 and 10.1.10 further outlines that new intensive livestock operations and short-term manure storage areas should be set back a minimum of 150 meters from neighboring dwellings, and short-term manure storage must be set back a minimum of 100 meters from any spring or water well. Section 10.1.14 states that in no circumstances shall a new or expanded agricultural intensive use be permitted within 122 meters from a watercourse which is not entirely surrounded by the lot or lots on which the operation is located, unless suitable containment facilities are constructed to the satisfaction of the approving authority. There are 3 neighboring wells, as indicated in yellow circles, within the 100-meter setback distance, and 1 residence within the 150-meter setback distance, as indicated in red. As noted, there is an ephemeral drainage course that runs through the southeast portion within paddock 5, which flows towards and through the parcel to the east, as indicated in blue. Alberta Health Services has also provided comment that the main consideration for this proposal would be that the applicant must be mindful of potential runoff from the horse manure that would contaminate groundwater or nearby surface water. If there are plans to have horses roam frequently near the wellhead, then Alberta Health Services would recommend that the applicant restrict or limit horse access and refrain from harrowing large amount of manure near the wellhead to minimize the potential risk of contamination. And this concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to answer any further questions.
Thank you. Board members have questions? Mr. Steer?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the Development Officer, Ms. Smith. Just in reference to the setback requirements, as a development authority, you have the ability to have a variance power in regard to those. But in this case, you decided not to. Can you explain how that decision was arrived at, please?
Yes. For this parcel, the main considerations is that led to the refusal on this one is the number of horses on the parcel being 10. The variance for this would, when I looked at this, harrowing being the only option for, or provided option for manure management with no containment items, no areas for containment. Myself and the Agricultural Services Board felt like that was not a suitable response.
Sorry, I was being specific about the structures, the shelters, the setbacks,
Yes.
variance power.
Mhm.
You have up to 90%.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Not the horses.
Sorry.
Can you speak to that then, please?
Thank you. For the structures, as these structures are movable in nature and there is sufficient area on the parcel, that led to that refusal.
Okay, movable in nature.
Yes.
Are they not fixed to the ground by posts then, or how are they installed?
I did ask the applicant if they were movable in nature, and the applicant did advise that they could be moved.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Further questions, board? Being none, we now hear from Mr. Taylor.
I need to hit this button here, right? So I guess the biggest thing to meet the requirements of the manure management, we could potentially put a bin on site, which at the end of the day is really not necessary. We have never had any manure issues. We harrow it frequently and the manure just dissolves into the ground. There's never any piles of manure. We do it in conjunction with rain and snow melt, and there's never been an issue. My neighbors can all attest to that. We do it frequently, and honestly, if my neighbor John to the east, he said, you know, if this is an ongoing issue with the board, he'd be happy to take it and spread it in his half section. But there's nothing to pick up. We clean out the shelters once every 6 months, and it is spread. So that's the manure side of it. If the shelters were required to be removed, dismantled, and adjusted for the distance required, I'm happy to do that at my expense. I got a quote on a bin from TNT Disposal if that was an option that would be considered if you can't see your way clear if there's no manure. As far as runoff, there is once in every 10 years with a huge snow melt, we've had a little bit of runoff. And my proposal there is that if there's a concern there, we could cross fence that off and not use it for the horses, or we could put a dugout at the end of the property.
Questions, board members? Mr. Steer?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Taylor. Pardon me, good morning. Nice to see you. Thank you for your presentation. So In the scheme of things, because of the land use bylaw and the rules that you found out about, you have decided to apply for an intensive operation as was required in the hopes to be able to keep all of your horses and all of this, correct? So therefore, to do that, the county and the development officer have outlined a bunch of very comprehensive conditions to meet to satisfy for you to proceed along with that. Are you aware of all the conditions that they were requiring or will require if the board decides to approve this? Because it needs to have an awful lot of plans submitted and systems changed compared to how you operate now. Are you prepared to go through with all of those things? Or would you rather just instead reduce the number of horses? That's my question.
Since the complaint came in, I've downsized. The complaint came in when I had 11 horses. There was a special circumstance that I had that many horses, and when the complaint came in, since this process began many months ago, I've downsized to 7 horses. So I'd be looking at maintaining just the 7.
Well,
these horses are all retired. They have no value for sale. So yeah, I guess if I could maintain minimum of 7, that would be great.
okay, Mr. Chair, could I need to go back to him. Sorry, sir, I was asking about all the other conditions. They want a detailed plan on how you're going to handle the manure. That detail means something in writing with the whole 9 procedures or 10 or whatever it amounts to. They need a whole bunch of stuff. Are you aware of these conditions that they require?
I'm aware of that there are set conditions. I'm not privy to the entire details of them all. No, I'm not, but I'm prepared to do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ms. Reed?
Good morning. I have just one question. What are the ages of the 7 horses?
They vary mostly in the late teens, some in the early 20s.
Thank you.
Further questions, board members? Being none, Ms. Silver, did you have something to contribute here?
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I am a neighbor of Jason's and my road runs parallel to his pasture. I'm also a horse girl. I have horses on my property. I walk down that road probably every morning and every night, and I drive it every day. And his property is so well maintained and so well cared for. The issue with the buildings being too close to the fence, I don't know anything about that. So I just know that those shelters are sufficient and his horses use them in the summertime. They go in there to shelter themselves from the wind and the flies. But I really wanted to address the manure problem. There's never any flies. It never smells. It never has an odor. His system that he does is so well maintained. He goes out with a rototill and he spreads it all over the field. And the next day you can't even see it. The green grass is coming up. It's dry. It never has a smell. As opposed to an arena that's down the other road that I walk by as well. It has a terrible odor. The bin that is full of manure is full of flies and it smells really bad. So I'm in favor of what Jason is doing at this time. His horses are very happy. They are healthy. They don't push the fences. They're content. I usually feed them a crunch on my walk. Not that that's important, but his property is so well maintained. The weeds are always cut. The grass is cut. The trees are watered. He even planted trees on the western side because we have quite a strong wind as a natural windbreak for the horses. They're always well fed. Even when there's green grass, there is a large bale of green hay out there for them, and it's in a feeder, so they're not putting it onto the ground and standing on it. They always have fresh water. They have a salt block. Everything that I would look for in having my horse, he has definitely supplied and offered. It's so well maintained. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Board members have questions? Being none, that's the end of the list of that I have for the participants. So I would now go back to the board members if they had any points that needed to be clarified at this point. Mr. Steer?
Yes, thank you. And to the appellant, Mr. Taylor, just another couple of quick questions. You've applied for 10 and now you've reduced your animal unit numbers to 7, I think you said. Would you be open to, in the permit, reducing then the number you're applying to have to 7 instead of 10? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Anything further, board members? Any questions from participants? So at this time, we would go to closing comments. They're not necessary, but if you wish to contribute, we'd start with the municipal rep.
Thank you. I have no further comments.
Thank you. Applicant, do you have any closing comments? Silver, any closing comments? Thanks. And board members, any points of clarification at this time? Thank you. So with that, I will close the hearing. The board will make its decision today. The decision will come out in writing in about 15 days. Thank you for coming out and your comments. Thank you.